Bucksport Cemetery Committee meeting to order. This meeting is being held in person. Meetings are broadcast live on Spectrum Cable TV channel 1303 and streamed simultaneously on the Town of Bucksport's YouTube channel. Questions or comments can be submitted before or during the meeting by emailing jtarian@bucksportmaine.gov or by calling 307-8030. All right, and our roll call: Christopher Johnson.
Here.
Linda Moore.
Here.
Stephen St. Peter.
Here.
Larry Wall.
Here.
And I'm Jennifer Tarian. All present. Okay, did you have a chance to review the minutes of the August 28th meeting?
Yes, I did, Madam Chair.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I've read the minutes. I also reviewed the video, so I feel qualified to vote on the.
okay. Anyone, anything we need to adjust?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, a motion to approve?
Yep.
Yes,
Second.
okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. And we'll get to our discussion items.
Okay.
So, Oak Hill is first. We have the fence vendor updates. Why I've got my phone here. I had a chance to talk to Kevin Potter, and Kevin was telling me that he was going to continue to reach out to Superior Fence, but what he's done in the meantime is he went and counted how many of the chains are the incorrect size, and then he priced what it would cost to do the work if we just have him do it, basically. It would be $878.82 is what he thinks it would cost to purchase the hooks and chain to make it all as it should be. And he's going to try Superior Fence again. He was trying to get an answer back from them before this meeting, but I don't see anything new. So he just wants us to have a sense of what that would cost. If they aren't going to replace it and they tell us that they're not, then if we have to make the decision, would we have wanted to pay them to come back, or he could just do it. So, I mean, obviously we want them to take care of it if at all possible, but it doesn't, it's weird that it doesn't say in the paperwork what the specifications for the chain are supposed to be, but you would assume that they all should have been the same.
Right.
So we'll see if he has any luck with that. If he gets an answer back, I'll share it with you, and then we can move forward. It's a small thing, so we can just make a decision when we find out one way or the other. So that's the fence.
Thank you for following up on that.
Mhm.
That's disappointing to say the least. So I guess what I'm thinking is, from what you said, there's no reference to chain size or no reference of uniformity in the RFP that went out, because I can't remember that. Did we get a copy of the RFP? Or just...
What Jacob was able to provide for me just before the last meeting was a handwritten, basically an invoice that just said that there were going to be a certain number of openings, right, and that there were going to be just a couple of very basic handwritten things, but it didn't say size.
Okay, because we didn't put it out on a bid basis, if I'm mistaken.
Right.
That may have been the
Right.
real issue. Thank you.
So, then we have the maple tree. So, this has been an interesting process. I
Yeah.
did not mean to complicate matters, but I will say that the one thing that happened over the course of Kevin Potter getting two additional bids after we had already talked to Jay, was the bids that we received were low enough, and his bid, if we're only talking about pruning, which Larry, you had mentioned how we're going to compare if they're not the same scope of work. So when you look at the bid for the trimming of the tree, it is an amount that we can make a decision. Jacob just wants a recommendation from the committee, and then it won't have to go to any further level of vote because it is a lower threshold than when we were talking about the need for more work. And I don't know if what you all thought from what they shared. Unfortunately, Kevin would have come tonight, but he's driving he drives on the long distance trips for the sports teams for the bus, and he had a commitment tonight. So what I could tell from reading the proposals, there didn't seem to be a big concern about the health of the tree. The way that I walked away from, I was quite concerned when we had our site visit. So I don't know how you all felt about
The
that.
first two seemed to think, well, the first one thought it was really healthy. I don't know that either one of the two ones other than Jay have really looked into that tree as closely as maybe they should have.
I thought that one of them did suggest that it needed to be looked at, and acknowledged there could be a problem in there. One of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
one of them mentioned
the
cabling.
Zulke one mentioned potential for cabling down the road. But the concern of just that area that we looked at, that we wondered if it was healthy or not, I would have assumed that they
Must have
had
seen
at
it.
least seen that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
no one has mentioned that.
I thought
think
one of
that-
them did mention that it all depended on the condition of that particular location in the tree. I may be dreaming, I don't know, it just seems that somebody did mention it, I don't have them right here in front of me.
Well, I've got them right here if you want to take a look.
Well, can you see where one of them did talk about that in there at all?
As well.
That sort of qualified based upon an inspection of that particular, but that was the same thing Jay said, which was until we see that, we don't know if the tree's healthy enough, how far down that deterioration goes. But here's,
So the first one, the cheapest one, Zulke, pretty much just pruning the dead wood. From the central leader down to the crotch, and removing any hangers present. And any remaining dead wood,
maybe I
and
read,
raise the canopy 8 to 10 feet.
yeah, maybe I read more into it than it was there, I don't know.
Well, at the end of that one, that was the scope of that work, and then assessing the condition of the two remaining central leaders for possible cabling in the future.
That may have been what I was
That may,
referring to.
yeah, and then, what do you have on that?
That may have been what I was reading, thinking that they were referring to that.
So, it was Fox, which I think is, I'm assuming it was, I don't know if it was Tom himself that came, but said it appears to be in good health. Internal crown thinning. Lower branches lifted up. And cleanup. Do they all include cleanup?
Yes.
I think they do. So,
So
what do you all think?
I think we should, go ahead. So I didn't think the main focus on this was the health of the tree, because the tree looks healthy. It's, what's gonna happen in the future, whether that thing's gonna split apart. Whether you consider that part of the health of the tree, I guess you could. But, I'm comfortable with Big J's work because I've seen it. He's worked around town. He's been here, done work for a lot of folks, including myself. I feel comfortable with his work. These two folks, I have no idea what kind of work they do.
What are you thinking, Chris?
Same as you, probably. No, I agree with Larry. Again, I was the vast minority of one who voted not to preserve the tree, so I'm speaking kind of anticipating that the tree will eventually come down. But I've seen Jay's work. He was very open, very took the time to come, as did the others eventually. But I feel comfortable with his work, and the work he's done at the Lanford Cemetery was pretty good too. Took care of us there.
Mhm.
And we like to keep things local. So I would agree with everything Larry said.
Mhm. I would too.
Feel the same.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm really torn because if this were following the typical procedure, I've actually asked for more conversation on council decisions so that having a policy in place that we can consider like where people, how if someone's local and factor that in, because right now it's basically across the board that it's going to go to the lowest price, and so knowing that that's what generally happens, it's hard because I think it's if it were purely just, if we knew all things were equal,
Mhm.
I would say that I would need to stick with that. But again, we don't have the history and experience with these other folks. So,
Well, they all bid on the same criteria, right? And they all did this site visit. The RFP went out, they all got that, the same thing, I assume. And they came and visited and gave us the best price. But you're saying that the council's gonna demand price and nothing else?
well, but this isn't going to be a council decision. It's just if we're trying, when I think about it, if I'm trying to follow that
Yeah, I guess.
procedure, that's what would happen.
Yeah.
But we have two factors here. We have people we haven't worked with, and the fact that this isn't taxpayer funded. So, I mean, it's just, I don't really like that we don't have guidelines, because then we're trying to default to either no guidelines or using guidelines that don't actually really apply well to these cases. But everyone, so does someone?
So his bid is 3,500 for climbing and target pruning, also raising crown.
Do you get the sense he's going to do more than they are?
I sense that he will be more thorough. I know when he was on site, he mentioned trimming and then possibly getting down, look at the tree and make sure that, he hasn't taken out something that's gonna
Mhm.
make it, what word am I looking for? Off balance, it's
Yes.
Well, he wants to
Yeah.
keep the same shape that it's got, but make it healthier. get rid. And I noticed yesterday when I walked over there that there are more limbs down off of
Oh,
that.
wow.
Yeah. Especially towards the McDonald's side. Not, huge limbs, but deadwood is definitely there. So, I don't know. But,
And just, I wish that Jay had said in his about removal, because I feel like that in the past, has he removed the debris? Because I thought he said something about not removing it, but it doesn't say one way or the other in this.
no, all estimates.
All estimates.
Shipping and trucking.
In other words, chipping up everything and trucking it.
Yeah. he
Oh,
always
in with,
claims that.
okay, I thought that include shipping and trucking. Okay, thank you. I wanted to be sure on that. I thought once you got down to those lower points, they were for the future stuff. Okay, that's good. Well, anyone else have anything
No,
they want to share? Okay, then we need a motion.
okay. Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion to go with Big J.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for, the motion is for hiring Big J to do the work at Oak Hill. All those in favor?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't, did you both raise your
Aye.
hands? So 3 opposed
I do have,
and 1 abstention. Okay,
So you oppose, Madam Chair?
yes.
Thank you. I don't need to know why.
I agree with everything that you said. I do. Okay,
I have a
yeah.
question now. If we go with Big J, he's going to investigate while he is airborne there, the center of the tree and what it might need in the future. Okay, only one of the other estimates mentioned cabling, I believe. And I've forgotten, was that Fox or, but my question and my thought is, if their price for cabling, could we go through this same thing? It might be lower than Jay's or what?
Well, if we have to do, looking even just at, if it comes down to removal, we know at whatever point that is, that would be an expensive undertaking. Do you remember what he had mentioned for, didn't he say 7,000 if cabling were included? So it would have been like another 3,000 to 4,000 for that work, if I'm remembering from the site visit.
He does say,
He has it here,
yeah, 2,000, right?
$2,000 if it needs cable or brace. So if 3,500 and 2,000, if it needs cabling, is 5,500. Now, I think he did mention a higher price when we were talking to him.
Yeah.
He came back
Okay,
after thinking about it.
okay.
Madam Chair, one of the things, to jump ahead a little bit here, I think one of the important issues is how much money is available for this.
Mhm.
Because I do believe we have to maintain the endowment.
Mhm.
Interest earned, if I'm not mistaken. And I may be wrong on that, but we need to know how much money is available and how much money has been spent. I know from what I understand, they paid out of funds and then they were gonna transfer the money back across.
Right.
So we gotta make sure that we don't go beyond a certain point with
Right.
expenses on this.
Right.
So if they could, if somebody could check that before this project continues on. If we don't know, I would assume the worst case scenario, I think it was like $10,000 to take the thing down.
Right,
So
Well,
assuming.
10 to 15 according
10 to
to the,
Okay, so there you go. So worst case scenario is 15, do we have 15 left in the funds to take care of this tree? That's available, not part of the original endowment. I think we can't touch that. I may be wrong.
Well, if I'm reading Jacob's report from last meeting,
right,
the account for Oak Hill holds 145,000. 30,000 is allocated to non-cemetery related purposes. Using round numbers, our accounting shows 45,000 in general cemetery reserve and 72,000 designated for Oak Hill burial place. Total approximately 117,000 for cemetery related purposes.
For Oak Hill Cemetery related, is that correct?
right.
So I think there's plenty of money to.
They were still waiting to take $62,000 out of it and transfer it across
And it does say, however, 32,000,
32.
145,000 will need to be transferred out to cover expenses.
So apparently,
Last year's project,
yeah, apparently we're okay then.
so 117 minus 32.
The only thing I wonder going forward has been, your question of, maintenance and what it does cost there and are there, so there's no other substantial expenditures that will be needed at Oak Hill in the next,
Not until the tree comes down. I'm just being a jerk.
no, yeah, I know, but that tree is it, but are there other things
No,
left that could happen there?
I don't know. I don't think so. You know,
Well-
You could have vandalism, you could
Sure,
have
Yeah.
right,
Mother Nature
but that's really,
taking care of stones.
yeah,
but the Oak Hill money was never used, my understanding, for cemetery maintenance overall. Cemetery maintenance, Oak Hill came out of the cemetery maintenance account, cemetery account. It wasn't segregated out like that, I don't believe. It wasn't until we started talking about improvements and and we made the decision to go into that money and use that rather than taxpayers' money. But there's still, I would assume the cemetery maintenance would continue on with this maintenance that's going on now with the rest of the cemeteries. That maybe the town would like to put it back out to bid again. I don't know. That's a good question. Do we revert back to what was going on before, or do we continue on with the bid process special and keep taking it out of that? I don't know what the total expenses for maintenance were this year as far as mowing and trimming goes.
I'm sure it's still.
Ongoing.
And do we continue to take the money for that out of Oak Hill, or do we go back to using the quote-unquote cemetery amount that's used for everything else? I sense in the past that's what's happened. They got to it when they could get to it.
Isn't it a fixed amount for mowing the cemetery?
Well, in the past, the town's taken care of it. Remember, we've asked for them as to how
Mhm.
many hours they're using on all these cemeteries. The only one we could come up with was Oak Hill, when two gentlemen said they each spent 11 hours in there, one every time they mowed it, so it was 22 hours, and I threw out a $30 an hour for cost, and came up with whatever that comes to, and figured that's how much it cost for Oak Hill. And that was when it was coming out of the general maintenance of the town.
Right.
But we never have gotten, this is a question I've asked for a long time.
Yeah.
How many hours are spent on maintenance on cemeteries in this town? And we've been promised that now for 2 years at least, that we'll have an answer for that. We don't get it.
Jen, what was the bid amount on the mowing?
From the mowing. I think that was is that in the minutes from last time or the time before?
I thought it was like 8,700.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but I know that we had it and I can't remember how far back.
Okay, that's here, yes.
We had a
All
lot
I
of
had to do
notes.
is read this, 8750.
8750. Does that specify how many times, or is that just over a period of time,
As I recall, it was as needed.
as needed?
Do you see in there?
This summer's been a sexton's holiday.
Mm.
It really has.
Well, we started out though, it was very fast growth. And then
Yes.
all of a sudden, there was nothing to
Dried
mow.
It's a sexton's dream to have a year like this.
I did have a chance, I mentioned at the last meeting, I did have a chance to talk to Mr. Morrison, and he was talking about how over time they were able to become more efficient, but he also was able to, he's using, maybe you've noticed, but he said, I think 4 people at a time doing
Yeah.
it. With different, doing the different tasks that need to happen, so.
It looks great.
It does.
I'm thinking, we asked this question before, and I think it was like every so many days.
I feel like it did say something like every 7 days or as needed.
That would be a lot more often than what was done before.
Oh, yeah.
I was really pleased with what I saw.
Oh,
So
it's
Oh, you're right there, 87.
excellent, yeah.
can we come up with $8,700, so to speak, every year out of the endowment? I don't know.
And are you questioning whether or not the 87, the 87 did not come from the endowment because that bid was approved through the council.
That's good
Yeah.
news.
So we
So
don't,
that comes out of the $20,000 line that we see in the budget for cemeteries, I assume. Again, that's the problem. We don't know how much is being spent on the other 15.
Well, see, I think if you are all in agreement, it might make sense to ask Jacob if he could join us in October to review some of the budget pieces, because the council, at least tentatively, will start looking at more budget conversations in November.
Right.
But sometime certainly between now and January, if we're trying to get any handle on what's coming and where the funds come from,
Right.
this would be the time to do it, I think.
I understand all that, and I agree. And the other thing is, what's in that $20,000, first of all, that's budgeted in the cemetery line? Does that include the cash grants that are sent to various cemeteries around here? And finally, how are those cash grants justified or determined? That's been an ongoing
Oh,
question.
we had the note in the minutes.
Right, I read that. But
Did that make sense?
Well, it does, but it doesn't answer the question. What are they basing those amounts on? That was from something from 1995, and I have
Yeah.
most of the records from 1995 in the system. But it doesn't say that it's based upon whether it's number of veterans or at one time I heard it was a number of empty lots that were assigned to this town when the town ran the town farm out off the town farm road. There was all these stories out there as to what it's based on, but they came up with an agreement in 95 to hand out this cash. And I assume it's based on veterans in there, which is fine. I'm not opposed to this. I'm just trying to understand how they come to one cemetery that's relatively small getting 1,200 and a much larger one getting 800 or 300. How is this all factored in, and what happens to that money once it's allocated out? I assume it was for maintenance. But again, it's unknown expenses here. And I would love to have an explanation or understanding how it comes about, that's all.
Right. Well, and all I can share from looking back is it says that the stipend was determined based on cemetery size, number of graves, and available endowments.
That I didn't read, and I apologize for not reading that, but that would make sense, I guess.
But it doesn't say anything about veterans.
Right.
And then it does say, Jacob had noted in an email chain that I included, if the committee believes the current stipend amounts are outdated, we could recommend revised appropriations to the council because these were done in 1994.
There's still one gentleman in town that was on that committee that I'm aware of. He gave me most of his records that I've scanned and put in there. And he, you know, that I think would make folks understand, the minute you mention these things, people think you're against it. We're not, or I'm not. I'm just trying to understand how it all came about, but I missed that on that letter, and I apologize. for
That's
not
okay.
paying attention.
No, that's the best, that's the only information that we have, and it certainly isn't, it's notes from a memo, from a conversation with, with people in 1994, so.
I was still in high school at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm ready to let it go for now, but, you know, because we got other things to do, but it's something that's worth making sure everybody understands how that comes about, because it is direct cash. And the assumption is that cash is being going for maintenance. That has to be the assumption. We really don't know. And we have, 19 cemeteries in this town. I think 15 are managed by the town of Bucksport. I believe that's what it is.
the only one here, right, when it said, Riverview is not included,
Yes, that's correct.
it doesn't mention the others.
Well, there's another one I don't believe that's included,
Okay.
which is Brookside. I don't believe it's included on there either. Which is right out at the middle of Dedham. That's
Mhm.
wrong, right on the Dedham
Mhm.
town
Dedham
line
line.
up there. And I think the folks in Dedham more or less take care of that. But I don't believe that Brookside gets any money from the town of Bucksport, even though it's in the town of Bucksport. But again, I'm opening up a can of worms here. I may not want to open. I don't need folks coming complaining about it.
Well, and if, what I'm wondering too, if Oak Hill does not have other, I guess I'm trying to understand why the contract for Oak Hill wouldn't be being paid for by this money that's only for Oak Hill.
I thought it was. Oh, you mean in future maintenance? Well, that's a good question. But the next question is, do we have enough money to do that?
Right.
And will that 80 whatever, let's assume 10,000 5 years down the road, will we have $10,000 a year for maintenance for that, you know? Will that always be there from the investments?
Right.
I tend to think it would be questionable. That we come up with $10,000 every year. Maybe, I'm not a finance person, so.
That's another question. Where is this money? Is it making money? Is it
Right.
just sitting there?
Where is the,
Man.
we would like to see it.
Yeah.
Just piles of money.
Right. And
Um,
labeled for each cemetery.
Right. yeah,
Is it being invested? That's my question.
yes, understood. Okay.
I was up at Silver Lake Cemetery yesterday, and there was a lady pushing a lawnmower, mowing it.
Wasn't Kathy, was it? Kathy Downs.
I have no
She's
idea.
been doing a ton of work out there to keep it going.
I have no idea.
It's really tough.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Cemeteries are an
Just
extremely
thought.
expensive thing to take care of. There's no getting around it.
Oh,
Many towns
yeah.
just don't want to spend the money to do it, and so it end up depending on volunteers. It's tough. It's a tough thing. There's no cheap way of doing it.
mm-mm.
Okay,
Just one thing.
Yeah.
The town manager here at those meetings, that used to happen.
Okay.
Until Sue got so busy that she couldn't attend anymore.
okay. Because it seems like each time we come up with questions that we have to then just
Yeah.
handle, we can't have a conversation because we don't have enough information.
But typically, the town manager was. here.
Okay.
Mhm.
So then on, I think for Oak Hill, there's just the fence and the tree. So the other two we had on the agenda, we have the 917 right of way. And Chris, you uploaded the rest of those documents. Is there anything else to say on that?
Madam Chair, the discussion here says right here that right away contact Mr. Jerome. I've not had contact with Mr. Jerome. Couple things. I'm not sure Chris Johnson or any of the committee members should have contact with anybody in a direct situation like that. I think it should go through you and or the town manager and or the council.
Yeah.
Before we make any official contact.
Okay,
I needed a reminder, so I contacted, Mark Eastman.
mm-hmm,
He brought me up to speed on where we were when he left.
okay,
Larry, you may need to correct this, but a couple things I wanna mention. First of all, I think we should have another site review application, because 3 members of this committee have not been to see it. Larry and I were there at the time to see it.
Was I there?
You there too?
I think so, I think so.
That's right, you came up with Mark, I
Yeah,
apologize.
and then I think, was Linda with us or?
No.
No,
No,
Linda didn't go,
okay.
but I apologize, I'd forgotten about this.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
2 of us have not been there, 3 of us have, but.
Yeah.
The question has always been the existence of a right of way and whether that right of way is where it could or should be. The right of way that goes up by that location is 2 rods wide, which is around 34 feet wide, I believe. And it goes right straight back along the property line. And Larry, you may have to help me on this. It goes back to another property, and that Mr. Jerome owns that right of way up through there, and I believe owns the property up and back. That's not the location of his home. His home is out on the town farm road.
Yeah, it is.
So it's a right of way, and the question was, did the right of way go through the cemetery? We did find the cemetery. Do you remember we found a post up there at one point? Do you remember what we came to conclusion on right of way?
We staked out where we thought the cemetery was and should be. But then I questioned the fact that there was a right-of-way up through there and questioned whether the right-of-way is gonna go through the cemetery, which down the road might create a problem.
Exactly, that's exactly right, and
so we don't know if it does go through.
we didn't.
By looking at it and by looking at the boundary line, it looks like it does. And what we were looking for is permission from Mr. Jerome
To see if he'd let us,
to
to give it out.
let us,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, and we got to the point, and by the way, the current landowners were, and I assume still are, wonderful people. They were really cooperative with us and helped us a lot, and it was really it was really nice working with these folks. I have not been in touch with them, but, and I did not contact Mr. Jerome, but the question about the right-of-way concerned me as far as contacting Mr. Jerome, because it could be, and I hope it isn't, it could be a legal issue. And I didn't want to get involved in something that could end up as a legal issue. Whether it's correct or not correct. You know, we can measure 35 feet from the fence line and pretty much determine where that right of way goes, but I don't remember we did that. But we did drive some stakes on the perimeter, right? All 4 corners of the cemetery is quite obvious where it is up in the woods. It's very obvious because there's mounds all in a row. So we pretty much knew where it was. And it's easy to find the church foundation as well. But I don't remember that we measured 35 feet from the fence line, which is where the right-of-way is, all the way. It's a straight line right up through. That's the question. Is the right-of-way in the cemetery? And if it is, how are we able to deal with that? Does that, but the fact that it goes through a cemetery negate the legitimacy of it? I don't want to get involved with that at all. So, I'm not a lawyer, I'm sure.
I think there's one way to resolve it, and resolve this is to relocate the cemetery. In other words, make it smaller, get it off what we think might be the right of way.
Moving bodies.
It's yeah. It's
And
whether,
here's
it's
the
whether,
caveat. Guess what it's gonna take to do all this?
Money?
So, and
Don't
then-
say that word.
I know, but
but I'm not saying move bodies, and saying maybe look at it more closely, see if there were actually graves over in that area. I mean, you have cemeteries where there's vacant parts of the cemetery and might not be bodies in that.
There might not be, it's got me concerned.
I mean, we determined where the cemetery was by
Mistaken, yeah.
mounds and dips.
So what do you all think is the next step?
I
Take
believe,
another look.
I believe we should have another site review
Yes.
and, keep the town manager and or the council informed in great detail of what we're doing. Cause I don't think the committee should get too deeply involved in some of these issues
Right,
because of legal potential.
for sure.
Now, I have put all that material, and thank you, Mark, for sending all that stuff up in the past. Material including surveys, all the surveys ever done are up on the drive now, so you can go in and see those. Last one does point, show the right of way and show the location of the cemetery, so. But it's just an arrow pointing to a spot on the chart, so. And as far as contacting Mr. Jerome, I think that should come through the town officials.
Sure, and we had said before that Jay Lamfer should be at the visit since whatever
Yes.
happens is gonna involve town work, so
Yeah.
it may make sense to have someone from the town find dates and possibilities and convey those to
Jay,
us.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Was Jay wasn't he at the last one? He wasn't there? Jay wasn't there? I don't think. Well, okay.
I don't think he was at that
It's been up there.
last site. No, he wasn't at the site
Maybe
review.
not the
that I-
last one, it was the one before perhaps.
Okay,
Thank you, man. There.
perfect. Okay,
But, Madam Chair, I
Yes.
will, would you like me to contact the landowners and see if we can schedule a site review through them first? Or should that be the town manager maybe doing that?
I think that it can be handled through the town,
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you all know what I find out.
thank you.
And then,
Who are the landowners? The name,
Sorry?
the name of the landowners?
SCHWAB, I think it's Schwab. And then-
Schwab? Yes,
And
I
then,
think so.
and, then, the other person's name is different, it's the name on it's like an Asian name,
Okay,
but the stuff is
it's
on the,
in there, okay.
all
it's in the
right,
on the,
okay.
drawing.
very nice people.
And then the next item will be the Ginn Memorial. Does anyone have any new information there?
Madam Chair, I have information on that. I received a call from Elizabeth Ash Snow. She sent me some material that I also put up there, and just two things. She informed me that there are certain changes that have come about from it's the VA, whoever does it on the national. Before you had a memorial or a grave put up, you had to have definitive proof that you were a family member, a descendant of a Revolutionary War veteran. Anything before World War I had to prove that you had a family relationship to wherever the stone or memorial was gonna be placed. Anytime after World War I, you didn't. Now that's been changed. Now you do not need to be a family member to get a memorial or a stone. The critical thing is to make sure that, since we don't know where Mr. Ginn, well, we've been told, according to the literature, that Mr. Ginn was buried down behind his house there. But that location was disturbed when a Victorian house was built in 1870 at that same location, well before the Walmart, Hannaford's got there. But that Elizabeth Ash Snow said, the one criteria you wanna be careful of is make sure that what you're putting on there does not say buried here. That it's a memorial, not a gravestone. There's a distinct difference between the two. But and also on that, she sent up, and I put up on the drive, an application that had been forwarded, I don't know when it was, maybe in the 90s or the 2000s, by a gentleman by the last name of Carter in Presque Isle, who's a relative or a descendant of Mr. Ginn. But right now, I think that the thing to do is see if we get the town, if the town and the council agrees, to put a memorial, I think we talked about putting a memorial on the backside of the cemetery. And, but any of this material should come, I believe, from the town, which is now able to do that.
Okay.
And even though, she said, even though the website of this organization, this government organization says to the old system, they also have a page on their website that says, no, it's all been changed and now it's available to towns or wherever that need to do this, so. That was good news.
Yeah,
And Liz, thank you, Elizabeth, if you're watching, for sending all this stuff to us.
and thank
very
you
nicely.
for following up on that. So there's nothing to prevent something from being done, we just have to label it correctly.
Yeah, and we gotta make sure that it gets the paperwork in, so it takes time.
And the paperwork that you uploaded, is that the paperwork that needs to be done to get it, or?
No, because
Okay.
there is an example of it, but
Okay.
it is available online.
Okay.
But there's an example that this gentleman did, I think it was the old system that he put in, had all the information on it.
It should be this
Yes,
application.
You have one right there.
that's,
This is
that's.
the one that Mr. Carter filled out.
Oh, okay, it's already filled out, couldn't see
Yeah,
that from.
Thank you, Larry, for having that stuff.
from here. Okay, great. And,
Just one
oh,
more
yes,
thing.
go ahead, sorry.
I did take a walk down around the back of Bailey's house, which is the house next to Hannaford's, to see if there's any signs of any cemeteries down there. And, it's so grown up down there, and it's been so disturbed by Hannaford's and the sewer line that went through there that couldn't tell anything. So
Okay.
I got an idea, it's underneath the hot top of Hannaford.
Well, then it would
The
be
old
nice to have a memorial.
That was the
Best we
Gibbs
can
shipyard at that time, and then, but the literature suggests that there was a house built in 1870 at that location that probably would have disturbed it at that point. And you could see that house in some of the old photos at the Historical Society, and it was removed long ago. So I think that was suggestion, that that's when it may have gotten destroyed when they built that house. It was a farmhouse.
Okay, so, and then item D was, the topic was future maintenance and cemetery spending, I think we've already touched on that,
agree.
so we'll move forward. And then, other items not on the agenda, is there anything we haven't covered?
Nothing that I can think of.
I'm all set, thank you.
All good?
Good.
Okay, do we wanna pick a date for October? It would one of the two council nights, so it would either be,
See the second one,
should be the 9th or the 23rd.
23rd.
23rd is better.
Great.
Sounds good.
It's great having the council members coming, because I know they're eager to.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Okay, then October 23rd,
Same
our
time.
next meeting, 5 PM.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, great
Thank you
job.
very much.
Yes.
Thank you all, making some progress.
Yes.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Lots of seconds on that one, all those in favor?
Yep.
Good, anyone opposed? No, okay. So we will call the monthly meeting of the cemetery committee,
Yes.
close at 5:48.
Very good.